Hello everyone, I am back and this is what I decided to make with those little squares from the leftover triangles. I decided to make some trivets or pot holders or whatever you want to call them. And these are pretty big. They're 11 by 11 inches, so about a foot this way and that way. Most pot holders you find are a lot smaller than that, so this is nice and big and you could actually fit like a cast iron pan on it. So this is what, so I just did this and then I used the leftover fabric. On the back side I did a 9 patch. Hopefully you can see that. With just the leftover fabric. Again, it was all pre-washed, so that's what I used. This one's like a little hourglass. And then again, a 9 patch. I kind of put the binding there. I cut that 5-inch binding into 2.5-inch binding. So that's what I'm going to use to do these. And then this is the last one. It is messy. It's messy. This is a pinwheel. The back of it is, again, another 9 patch. A 9 patch is called a 9 patch because it's got 9 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow, I can count like a kindergartner. And the reason I wanted to show you mid-process was I wanted to show you what I used. Again, this is all 100% cotton. It's cotton thread. You do not want to use polyester when making a pot holder because polyester melts. It is plastic. So I'm just throwing that out there. You got to use 100% cotton. You cannot use polycotton fabric. You cannot use polycotton thread. It will melt. Use cotton. 100% cotton. No deviation on there because, again, it melts. And then inside, I used some Insulbright. This is Insulbright. It's a type of batting. It's kind of thin, but it's what's used for pot holders. And then I have a layer of flannel. See, I ran out of thread in my bobbin. So I need to actually sew the topping a little more. The top stitching. The topping. What am I making? Like hot dogs over here? Yeah, I got to sew the ketchup and the mustard. Okay, so it's got cotton fabric, Insulbright, 2 layers of flannel, and then, again, another layer of the cotton fabric. And then I'm just kind of sandwiching. They're all sandwiched together, squished together, and then I'm sewing this. And then once I get it done, I will trim the edges. I could have trimmed the edges beforehand, but you should kind of leave like extra of the inside because sometimes things shift and move around a little bit, and you can just trim it all off later, which, you know, here I trimmed it all off, and you can see like right here along the edge, I'm all the way to the edge on this side, not all the way to the edge on this side, but that's okay. It'll be covered in binding and you'll never see that. So normally, like when you do a quilt, you don't do both sides with designs for that very reason. Because, you know, fabric stretches weird and you're wanting to focus on your design first. So this is, I guess, like the design side. And this is just scrappy back. And I did try to sew different patterns for each. Like this one is like all squirrely. And then as I was sewing, I changed the squirrely. So it's like tighter here. And then as I went out, I made it like whiter squirrels. I did that with my sewing machine by just changing the stitch lengths and stuff. So, because you can see it's like super tight, and then as you go on, the stitch lengths increase, and then the width of the pattern increases, which again, I'm using my On this one, I'm using my modern sewing machine, so I just kind of changed the stitch length as I was sewing. This one, I kept it all just the same. And I just did like little random, like, see, like little patterns. Because I, you know, used this to make like little patterns. And then this one, I used straights and squigglies. So it's got squigglies and then it's got straights. And again, I used the blocks to kind of, you know what I mean, make a pattern going in an X through them. And then this way, and then this way. Look at that, stitched in the, that's called stitching in the ditch, when you stitch like perfectly down the middle. It's never perfect. See, look at that. It's never perfect. It's fine. You actually can buy attachments to make stitching in the ditch, which is like between the blocks, easier. I did not get it on any of my attachments. I'm just using like one attachment because I'm lazy. But they do like sell attachments that can make those things happen. That's it. That's what these are going to be. I'll probably take a picture of them all finished with their binding sewn on. The binding might be either blue or pink. I'm not sure if I have enough blue to do all of them. If I don't, then I'll just do some pink. Again, both of these are blue and pink, so the binding should sort of kind of match. And on this side, you can kind of see the pattern better, because, you know, it's white thread. And you kind of want to use a neutral thread. You can choose, like on this, I could have used blue thread or pink thread to contrast if I wanted to do pink. I just did white because, again, I figured white kind of blends. And sometimes you want your stitching to, like, pop, and sometimes you don't. And for this, it's just like, and can you hear that? It's got like a little crinkle to it. It's kind of fun. So, Insul Bright, because you might be thinking, how many pot holders am I going to make in my life? I probably don't need to buy this stuff. This is really good for other uses. And one of the other uses that it's good for is dog beds or cat beds. I have a cat. I don't have a dog. But I do have an outdoor cat. And my outdoor cat sleeps outdoors. So, of course, I've made her, you know, little cat beds with this inside. Because, again, it does insulate. So if you've got like cement at winter time and the floor is cold, the cement outside is cold, it would suck all of that heat out of her body, you know, because she's a small animal. So if you use Insul Bright as the insulation, it like keeps them warm. So makes the, and then in the summertime, you know, I live in Texas, it gets 100 degrees, you know, that cement can like burn your feet. But again, this would be a layer of insulation between, you know, the hot cement and her little bed. So it would actually keep her kind of cooler, you know, and not get like scorching. And again, she's an outdoor cat, and she's an outdoor cat because she was a feral cat when she adopted us. So she is happy living her little life, killing birds and rabbits and doing whatever it is that cats do. I mean, I'm just saying birds and rabbits because that's what I found on my porch dead at times. Gotta love an outdoor cat for that. But she was a feral cat, so I mean we've had her fixed and we've done all of the pet parent stuff for her. We feed her. She just, you know, supplements her nutrition with wild beasts because, you know, that's what cats do. She is almost 9 years old now, and she's an outdoor cat, so she's lived a very long time. We've taken her through 2 moves, one of them out of state, and then we moved to a different house, a rental house, and then we bought this house. And so I just took her around to like acclimate her in the yard and like walked her around the edges of the property, and then walked her around the edges of the front of the property, and then walked her around the edge of the back of the property and let her like sit there and smell it and stuff and like petted her and stuff, and then put out like her little, you know, cat bed and her stuff. And she never leaves the yard. She does all of her hunting in the yard. She never, like, occasionally she might like go in the neighbor's yard, but always within sight of our house. I mean, she's just, you know, she's not like a roamer. But that's also probably because I've got like, I don't know, if you've ever watched any of my outdoor videos, I'm sure you hear the birds. We have a ridiculous amount of birds in our tree. So, and she has not killed that population yet. It's like amazing how many birds she kills. Like once a week, at least, there's a bird dead. I don't know how she does it. And I don't know how the birds haven't learned not to, like, you know, live somewhere else where you're not getting, like, you know, hunted. Anyway, this is also, Insel Bright, it's also something that I used to make play mats for my son, who is, he's like 8 now. I also used him to make play mats for him when he was a baby, so that, you know, he could play on the floor and it wouldn't be as so cold. You know, he could just like roll around and stuff. Not blankets, because again, babies don't get blankets. But for a play mat where the child's going to be supervised and they're going to be, you know, crawling around, it's really nice, you know, because it like offers some padding and stuff. I'm just throwing that out there because, you know, you could use it for kids too. And it will hold in the heat or, you know, keep them from getting chilled. And if you have a doggy with arthritis where their joints hurt a lot and they're like little chihuahuas and lap dogs and things, a regular bed doesn't hold the heat in for them. But if you add Insel Bright, it would hold the heat in and it would help their joints. It's got other uses besides just that. And also, it does make a little bit of a crinkly noise. So if you were going to make like a toy, I don't know if you could use that or not. I'm assuming, like for a baby, like book or something, it would be fine. Like, you know how you use batting in between, like the pages of your cloth book for a kid. I don't know if it'd be safe if, you know, like they chewed on it and ate it. Obviously, it causes cancer in California, so just be aware. If you live in California, Insel Bright will kill you, just like everything else in the world will. Again, this is, it's really big. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell with my hands because my hands are small. But it is 11 inches. by 11 inches. And then once I'm done sewing the edges, I will trim all of this off. I'll put the binding on, and that'll probably be my picture, the three of them bound together. Probably these ones. I'll show it on this side because these little line patches are just not as cute. But, you know, either side can be used for your, you know, put your pan on, or a cookie sheet, or whatever. If you want to save your cabinets and your table from damage, these things are great. And I have found a way to use these scrappies, and I think they're cute. And I will be hopefully back to painting soon, but probably not. Also, if you hear my voice is a little strange, I have a cold. I've got like little snots. It's not good. I'm recovering. It's October. It's still hot in Texas. I have no idea why I have a cold, other than, of course, I mentioned that I have an 8-year-old, so you guys know I have children. And children are just germ factories. So, you know, that goes with the territory. Got a kid around, they're going to bring home crap. And of course, you know, there's no cure for the common cold yet. So, go get busy and work on that, somebody. I'll be working on trivets, you work on the cure for the common cold. It'll equalize, right? Bye. I'll see you later. Maybe I'll get back to painting soon, because I really should be painting. Bye.